Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Judge Corey Amanda Cawthon, and we're here for the afternoon session of First Appearance Court. We will go through the first appearance docket first, and then we will go over to our hearing docket for this afternoon. Just a reminder to everyone that everything that we say is being recorded and can be used against you at a later date. So I encourage you to speak to your attorney before speaking on the record this afternoon. Before I go through the first appearances, is there anyone that the jail has requested to be called out of turn? All right, so we'll start off with Kelly Rizza.
I've been informed she bonded, Judge.
All right, thank you. I find probable cause. Ashley Williams.
I've been informed she bonded, Judge.
Thank you. I found probable cause. Dawn Marie Lugo.
Here present, main Judge.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lugo. Ms. Lugo, you're before the court this afternoon on count 1, petty theft, second degree, first offense. Count 2, possession of THC. Count 3 is for introducing contraband into a detention facility. I find probable cause, and I'll hear from the parties.
Judge, this being Ms. Lugo, unfortunately, the $2,025 standard bond, which currently said, is something she's not going to be able to post. My understanding is she lives with her father. Her father's on disability. He's not financially going to be able to post that. Now, she's 28 years old, been living in our community over 20 years. She's not working. She takes care of her father. Her father's elderly. He's on disability. They reside together in Coral Springs, an apartment where she's been staying at for the past 3 years. Judge, we're going to be asking the court to consider releasing her under supervision of pretrial.
All right. State anything you want to add? All right, based on her history with pretrial, I'm not comfortable with releasing her to pretrial at this time. So I'm going to leave the standard bonds in place. There will also be a no return order to the Walmart that is at issue in the probable cause affidavit. Brian Evans.
He's approaching, Judge, municipal ordinance.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Evans.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Mr. Evans, you're before the court this afternoon on a misdemeanor capias. This is a municipal ordinance violation for open container. I find probable cause. And let me just ask, I know this is a municipal ordinance, but Mr. Linder, are you able to access his priors if he has any? Thank you.
Mr. Evans, what's showing is pursuant to FCIC hot file alerts. His legal status is he's a career offender. He's a designated habitual violent felony offender.
Okay, in light of that history, Mr. Evans, I'm going to leave the $50 bond in place at this time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Don Trial Williams.
I've been advised he bonded, Judge.
Thank you. I find probable cause. Francisco Queller.
I've been advised he bonded, Judge.
Thank you. I find probable cause. Gerald Sampson.
Yes, ma'am. He's here present, Judge.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sampson. You're before the court this afternoon on one count of possession or use of drug paraphernalia. I find probable cause, and I'll hear from the parties.
At this time, we're just going to be requesting a SAP order.
Okay. State anything you want to add?
No, Judge.
Okay, that's fine. I will leave the bond in place, and I will sign that order for SAP. All right, thank you. Good luck, Mr. Sampson. Timothy Taylors.
Mr. Taylor's, come on up, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Taylors.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Taylor's here before the court this afternoon on count 1, possession of methamphetamine. Count 2, driving while license suspended, second offense. Counts 3 and 4 are each for a traffic capias. I just want to make sure we have the right charges. Those were for failing to register a vehicle and driving with a suspended driver's license. That was the first offense. I find probable cause, and I'll hear from the parties if they wish to be heard.
Judge, right now I see he has a standard bond of $1,100, and I do see her on counts 3 and 4 in reference to an outstanding capias. Having said that, Judge, he's not going to financially be able to post his bond. Right now, Judge, he just got a job. He's working at PF Chain, so he has a good job. He's 35 years old, been here his whole entire life. Right now he's homeless. However, he has an address of his father where he can receive mail. Now, he did tell me that in reference to counts 3 and 4, he was being honest with me. He said he went to court. It was the Hollywood courthouse. My understanding is they gave him an opportunity to come back to try and see if he could get his license straightened out. And as he said, he just lost track of time. However, Judge, now that he's working, he's on the right track. He says he's going to be coming to court. He's asking if the court would consider releasing him on pretrial release. And Judge, at this time, working at PFJ, they're actually allowing him to work more than normal 8 hours. He's advised me he's working
About 14, 16 hours a day. That's pretty much. I work from 10 a.m. to midnight, so kind of it's easy to lose track of time as far as I lost track of time as far as when the payment was done. But given the fact that what's going on now, it'll be no problem to pay this money off. I just don't want to lose my job. I'm actually supposed to be there right now.
All right.
On counts 3 and 4, this is already the second time he failed to appear in court. Judge Davis was nice enough to withdraw the first capias that was issued, and not have Mr. Taylor taken into custody, and then he failed to appear again.
And what are his priors, if any?
Burglary dwelling in 09, grand theft, VOP, 45 months state prison, resisting without violence, 05. Would you please advise the court?
All right, pretrial, what was?
I'm showing that Mr. Taylor's was released from state prison March 6th of 2019.
And Judge, I understand he has prior contact with criminal justice. I understand that these are outstanding capiases. If a person didn't receive notice or anything like that, I would be asking for straight ROR, saying it wasn't willful. But Mr. Taylor was upfront. He said, he was supposed to show up. He admitted he just messed up. But at the time, he didn't have work. This is his third. He just got his third paycheck. He has something good going on in his life right now. He's telling me he's going to show up. This is a drug offense. We're not going to be objecting if the court also wanted to place restrictions as far as having subject to random drug testing. And he probably in the past didn't do so well, but now he has something to strive for, so that we're asking for him to be released under supervision.
All right. Well, normally, given the history that has been presented this afternoon on someone like Mr. Taylor's, I would not entertain the idea of placing him on pretrial release. But given the fact that he's employed right now, and I would rather try to set him up for getting on the right track rather than set him up for failure, I'm willing to give him a chance. These are nonviolent offenses, and place him on pretrial with random testing, no alcohol, no intoxicants. Mr. Taylor's, you've heard the history that's been read aloud to me this afternoon. Please do not make me regret giving this opportunity.
We're not.
All right.
We're not, Judge.
Mr. Taylor's, you're getting some information from your attorney there regarding pretrial. You must report to pretrial within 24 hours. If you fail to do that, a warrant will be issued for your arrest. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and remember, though you're being released today, that it's not the end of this case. It is your responsibility to keep in contact with your attorneys and the clerk's office to monitor any future court dates that you must be present for. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I'm going to place him on pretrial for all 4 counts. Thank you. Russell Thompson.
Mr. Thompson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Thompson.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Thompson, you're before the court this afternoon on count 1, possession of weapon or ammo by a convicted Florida felon. Count 2, possession of cocaine. Count 3, trespassing on property, not a structure or conveyance. Count 4 is a misdemeanor capias. And that, let me just see what that charge is for. One moment. Okay, that was a charge for possession of cannabis. I find probable cause, and I'll hear from the parties.
Your Honor, state would be requesting a $5,000 bond on count 1. He's gone to prison previously for this same offense. 2011, burglary of a dwelling, possession of firearm by convicted felon, grand theft, fleeing and eluding. He was sentenced to 3 years in state prison.
I'm going to be requesting a little bit lower. He is going to be contacting his family to help post his bond. They're not going to be able to quite afford the $5,000, which the state has requested along with the other bonds. So I'm going to be asking for a $2,000 bond on count 1. Now, Mr. Thompson is working. He works for CMS Cleaning. He's been with them for 5 years now, making about $10 an hour. He's been living in our community for over 20 years. He's 31 years old. He's a single father. He lives with his mother and his 2 children. Financially, Joe, though, times are tough right now as far as paying for the expenses of rent and raising his children, Judge. But he believes his mother can come up with some. That's why we are requesting a $2,000 bond on count 1, Judge.
Mr. Romero's painting a certain picture, but in this instance, Mr. Thompson is fleeing from law enforcement, hiding in someone's backyard in possession of drugs and a firearm. While the home is occupied also.
Fires besides the one that you mentioned, State?
Yes, he does, Your Honor. I mean, he's got the open case that he didn't show up in court on. Unlawful use of false name ID, 2017. Possession controlled substance, 2011. Resisting without violence and trespass, 08. Unlawful use of false name ID, 08. Resisting without violence, 08. Delivery of a counterfeit controlled substance, 06.
About failures to appear.
Oh, I'm looking, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, I apologize. The case he went to state prison on, there was also a count of fleeing and eluding law enforcement, which I think is relevant considering the allegations in this report. He was arrested in 2017 in Broward on a false ID to law enforcement. It appears there was a warrant for his arrest out of another county, out of Dade County at that time. When he was arrested for the burglary and firearm by felon and grand theft in 2011, he was out on another felony drug case, so he violated his release conditions in that matter. KP's arrest in 08. Not showing anything else here.
Going to set a $3,000 bond on count 1. The other standard bonds will remain in place. I'm also going to impose a no return order. Mr. Thompson, that means you are not to return to the residence that is at issue in this case. There will also be a no victim contact order, whether you know this alleged victim or not. No victim contact means no phone calls, no text messages, no social media, no third-party contact. Additionally, there will be an order that Mr. Thompson not possess any weapons, firearms, or ammunition. That should go without saying, based on his history. However, to be clear, Mr. Thompson, that means that if you are in possession of any of these items, they are to be surrendered to law enforcement. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Right? Bond?
Judge, I've been advised he bonded.
All right, thank you. I find probable cause. Sony Merville,
He's here present, Judge. Amen. He's approaching.
thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Merville.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Mr. Merville, you're before the court this afternoon on one count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. I find probable cause, and I'll hear from the parties.
Your Honor, I'm going to be requesting a $5,000 bond, no victim contact, no return, no possession of any weapons. At the time of this incident, Mr. Merville was out on pretrial release for possession of utilone, criminal mischief, and resisting without violence. I've been advised that pretrial has already prepared a warrant and has brought it to Judge Usan, who's assigned to that case. Based on this being a violation of his pretrial release, that is the basis for the request, Your Honor. Okay.
I assume that that'll be coming down the pipeline soon. All right. So I assume we'll be seeing that one shortly. Okay.
Possession of utilone, criminal mischief, and resisting without violence.
Judge, I'm just gonna be requesting a photo order.
All right. The bond will be set at $5,000. I will sign the photo order. There will also be an order of no victim contact. Mr. Merville, no victim contact means no phone calls, no text messages, no third-party contact, no social media. Additionally, there will be a no return order. That means that you are not to return to this location. There will also be an order that you possess no weapons, firearms, or ammunition. If you are in possession of any of these items, you are to surrender them to law enforcement. Do you understand those conditions, Mr. Merville?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. To our hearing dockets, we will go to the misdemeanor docket first. First up will be Vladimir Gazinski. I believe he has both the misdemeanor, he's on the misdemeanor docket and on the felony
Yeah,
docket.
different first name on each one.
Oh, it's a different person?
No, different,
Oh,
same
different
person,
first
different
name.
first name.
Okay.
Alias.
Okay, all right, I see. All right, so these are both second looks.
Yes, Your Honor. It's a $750 bond on the felony theft. And I'm not sure what the bond is on the MO. It's a habeas. I'm going to be asking the court. I'm going to ask the court to take no action. Mr. Gudzinski last year just continuously kept coming before the court, and all on thefts. I'm showing he had last year alone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petty thefts, a trespass, another trespass, failure to leave property. There was a grand theft auto arrest that was dropped. Trespass 2018, trespass 2018. That's the sum and substance of it.
And Judge, Mr. Gasinski is requesting to be released on, pretrial release on this felony petty theft offense. It's a felony. Correct.
Based on Mr. Gazinski's history, I'm not going to do that at this time. I'm going to leave the bonds in place. Thank you.
Judge, I believe Mr. Gasinski wants to address the court in reference to the city charge, the municipal ordinance.
Garbage got time to for the city charge, Your Honor.
Mr. Gazinski, I believe that I'm the division judge that issued the capias in this case. So at this time, I'm not going to resolve it. I'm going to leave it, and I'll have you address it with your division judge.
And Your Honor, just so he's aware, the docket's indicating he's scheduled for in-custody arraignment tomorrow.
Okay, so you're going to be seeing your division judge tomorrow anyway. Thank you. Okay, the other hearing on the misdemeanor docket is Devin McGauley.
He's a Conti judge.
Thank you.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. McGauley. All right, this is a second look as well. His bond is currently set at $1,000.
I don't know if Your Honor had an opportunity to read the PC affidavit.
To be honest with you, I don't have that paperwork with me. If you have it, you want me to read it, I'll
Lysandra,
take a look
could you
at it.
give Thank you, Lysandra. Your Honor, when,
I'll take a look at it.
yeah, okay. Go just read off my computer, just like 2 paragraphs. It's a quick read.
Yes, I do remember this one. All right.
And while I acknowledge he's only been charged with 1 count of battery, there's allegations that he struck 2 people, the victim and also his ex. based on the level of violence that was allegedly committed against his ex, I'd ask that the court keep the bond at $1,000 at this time.
Mr. McGauley, I'm
Yes,
just
I would-
hearing
yeah, I
argument
would-
from the attorneys. All right. Do you want to talk to him? Okay, that's fine. Just take a moment.
Thank you, Judge.
And then let me know when you're ready. Mr. McGauley, your attorney is going to call you on the phone there at the facility. I'm going to give you a moment to speak to him.
Judge, I had an opportunity to speak to him. I can tell the court that I guess the bond is currently set at $1,000. He is unable to come up with that or $100 to go to a bondsman. He's currently homeless. He does have an address that he can receive mail at. He's lived here all of his life, though. I don't believe that he's a flight risk at this point. And because he's homeless, he has no money to afford anything. So we would just ask the court to take that in consideration and consider releasing. If the court's not inclined to do that, I would ask the court to consider pretrial release.
Mr. McGauley have priors?
Yes, Your Honor, he was actually arrested 5 days prior to this arrest for a trespass in the municipal ordinance. He pled that out, was released on the 5th. December 18th, he was arrested on a writ of arrest. November 4th, trespass, pled that out. October 9th, trespass, pled that out. September 12th, another trespass, he pled that out, was released on September 20th. August 16th, trespass. August 5th, another trespass, and he was picked up on a capias for a DWLS. Then April of 2018, he was arrested for a violation of pretrial, and the violation of pretrial was that he was supposed to remain confined to his home 24 hours a day between the hours of 4:50 p.m. and 7:50 p.m. He left his residence without prior notification. 2 days later, he left his residence at approximately 2 p.m., did not return until almost 7 hours later. And then the next day, he left his residence at 6:25 and did not return until almost 3.5 hours later.
This time I'm going to leave the bond in place. Thank you. All right, let's go over to the felony docket. Thank you, Mr. McGauley. Next up will be Deanna Gurnavaj.
Brower?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Gurnovage.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Ms. Gurnovage's bond has been set at $1,000. This is a second look. I'll hear from the parties.
So Your Honor, I don't know if you have the notes in front of you. Your Honor reduced her bond to $1,000. It was originally $2,500. This was a sale made in October, late October of last year. $20 worth of crack cocaine, and it was during an undercover operation.
I remember the case. What were her, did she have priors?
Judge, and I can tell the court while he's looking that up that she's lived here all of her life. She just has no money. She's not currently working. She does have a residence. She lives with friends at this time, but there's no way for her to be able to post any bond at this point.
Showing she pled out a theft November 8th of last year. When she was arrested on that, it was on a capias. Trespass last year. 2017 prostitution, 2012. 3 counts of dealing with stolen property, 3 counts of false ownership info on a pawn item, VOP, 22-month state prison. Possession of hydromorphone and alprazolam, 2011 with the VOP. Burglary of a structure, possession of oxycodone, alprazolam, and theft, 09 with the VOP, 17-month state prison. Burglary conveyance, 08, possession of alprazolam, 08. Burglary, conveyance, fleeing and eluding, and theft, 08 with the VOP, battery, 05.
Did she have any failures to appear?
I'd have to check other than the most recent arrest. No particular order. I see in 09 she was arrested on a capias failure to appear. Then again in 09 her bondsman, I guess, had issues and he surrendered her bond on pending case. Another bond surrender in 09 when she picked up new law offenses. Capias arrest 2012 on a 2011 case. Another one in 2012. Another one in 2013. That was on the dealing in stolen property case. She was ultimately sentenced to state prison. That's all, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to leave the bond in place at this time.
So that means no pretrial?
No, ma'am. That means you'll be going in front of your division judge soon, unless you post bond. Timothy Norris,
This is your present, Judge and me.
thank you very much. All right,
And Judge, oh, I'm sorry.
that's all right. This is a second look hearing for Mr. Norris. His bond is currently set at $1,000.
Yes, Judge, and Mr. Morris did advise me, he wishes to address the court. I did advise him not to talk about the facts of the case, but he wishes to address Your Honor.
All right.
Okay. Ma'am, I've been let out. As you can see, all my charges was old. The judge can see that R&R, man, all my charges I've been doing good. I'm a homeless combat vet. I was a combat for a whole year. I'm back on my medication, and I'm waiting for housing from the VA now. The slip up each time I talk about. But besides that, man, I've been going to my appointments, been going to my court dates, been seeing my lawyer. I've been doing everything else I've done. As you can see, I had those slip ups since I've been R&R, and I had been R&R on like 7, 8 charges. All I'm doing right now, I'm waiting for the VA to give my housing. Because right now I've been sleeping in the parks, but you know that's part of the transition I have to go through to get my housing for the VA. I haven't caused any trouble. I haven't been in any trouble since I've been R&R by Judge Garcia. And as you can see on how many charges she R&R me on, and I haven't slipped up since. This was one slip up. Now I regret I did it. But I'm not sure. All I'm not sure is can I continue to have another chance? Continue to go to the VA, get my medication, and get my housing, so I won't be a statistic as another homeless vet. I was in combat for a whole year. I was in the military 6 years now, and I'm getting my shit together.
Your Honor, unfortunately, it really says something when Judge
You
Merrigan.
can see how old the charges are.
I understand, Mr. Norris. I appreciate you saying that. Let me hear from the state attorney first, and then I'll make a decision.
It really says something when Judge Merrigan no longer is able to provide any help in Veterans Court. And that's what happened. Mr. Norris kept picking up so many cases that Judge Merrigan could no longer keep the case in Veterans Court. He transferred him out of his division. This is Mr. Norris is now his 7th open felony case. At a certain point, really, I mean, how many chances are to be given? I know he's painting a picture of positivity, but the allegations really don't coincide with it. 3:15 in the morning, out conducting hand-to-hand transactions for crack cocaine.
There are cases that are open right now. What's going on with those? Are there bonds on them? What's going on?
I mean, I can't tell you the reasoning, but Judge Garcia ROR'd him September 16th. But, I mean, that was after she withdrew a capias for his failure to appear in court. I've reviewed the cases before Judge Merrigan. He's failed to appear in court multiple times. He's violated his release conditions over and over and over again by committing the same type of offenses. It's multiple felony thefts, multiple possessions of cocaine. At a certain point, his actions really speak for themselves, not the words that he's telling the court today with the hopes of getting released on non-monetary conditions.
Judge Garcia courtroom, not one slip up.
Judge, Mr. Norris is reiterating the point that he was released ROR. He's right now trying to get his housing together. My understanding is the new law offense, as he terms it, it's a slip up, Judge. Still trying to get his life together. So he's asking to be released on non-monetary conditions.
All right.
I've been having contact with her and my lawyer.
All right. Well, Mr. Norris, I appreciate everything that you've said, and I want to see you be on a good track, but I also don't want to set you up for failure if I put release conditions on you that you're not going to be able to comply with because of, other potential issues that may be going on. So because I don't want to set you up for failure on that, I'm going to leave the bond in place at this time, and I'm going to let you address this issue with your division judge in addition to the other cases that are already pending. Okay, I believe that's all of our cases for this afternoon. So this concludes the afternoon docket for first appearances. I'll see everyone back here again tomorrow morning for our morning docket. Did we, yes, which facility am I talking to?
This is, concert facility. I have two gentlemen that's scheduled that never been called.
Okay, I don't have them on my docket. What are the names?
I have,
Who is it?
Jarvis Crawford, Drummond, Mr. Drummond.
Crawford and Drummond. Okay, Drummond has been reset for tomorrow morning, I'm being told. And same thing with Crawford. Okay, they have both have been reset for tomorrow morning is what I'm being told.
All right, man. Take care.
Thank you,
have a nice
Deputy.
day.
Have a good one. All right, thank you, everyone.